and take a ride.
You just started off the fuck. What did you just say a minute ago?
He said, I got arrested on Jimmy Kimmel.
You got arrested on Jimmy Kimmel. It came out so fucking casual. Dude, what?
This actually has a cool ending. So I found the largest stash of antique dollar bills ever found in American history. It offset everybody's collection, so including like the Smithsonian. People said that we stole it, which wasn't true. As soon as we found it, we just got picked up for it. We had planes picking up my friends and family from all over the place, bringing us all down onto MTV, Saturday Night Live studios. Did Good Morning America, Today's Show, went back and forth to California, met Jay Leno and Ellen DeGeneres, and then they said that we stole money while we were recording for Jimmy Kimmel, and the police actually showed up while we were doing the reporting, and they said, hey, anything over $20 that was found in the state of Massachusetts, you have to bring to a police station and record it. We're going to need every serial number to verify it's not stolen. So I said, all right, I guess we're wrapping this up, and brought the money down there.
What, to the cops?
Everything was on the up and up.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't, but that's like weird out of line shit.
On their end.
Yeah, that's just weird.
That's them stealing.
They did steal it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They were taking bids because they thought that they had a case, and then they pressed charges. I may arrested, $50,000 bail.
Charges for what?
For larceny over 500.
Who did you steal from?
That was the big thing, is they didn't even ever have, on the second time they arrested us, they thought that they might have had a quote-unquote alleged victim. But when they pressed the charges, there wasn't even a victim.
Just straight up upped you with the long dick of the law and stole your treasure.
$7.8 million.
What kind of stash of cash was it?
It's like 1,800 physical bills. A lot of like silver certificate, like golden certificates. They're from like 1899 to 1921. So the lawyer said, you'll turn this in to the Federal Reserve or whatever it was.
Was they in nice shape?
What were they in to be?
Tin cans.
Paper? Survived?
Yeah, I'm assuming that was prohibition type of stuff as far as some bootleggers, but that bill gotten gained, so I don't think that's the case.
How much was it in denomination? Like, not what it would be worth now.
I think it was like between $5,000 and $6,000.
Right. But its value was in its...
Yeah, we had stuff like a wood chopper, which is only 2 that's known in existence, and we had 3 more of them. So whoever had those other 2, either private collector or Smithsonian,
You pissed them off.
Yeah, that grossly dropped the value of their bills. I wasn't worried about any of that.
You know what it did though? It really increased the value of the found bill.
I will give you the fun part though that only maybe 3 people know about. So I got the money back. We went to court and it got thrown out of probable cause. They gave them 365 days to be able to press the charges again or let it go. They wound up pressing the charges a second time, arrested us again. The judge said, is there any new information with them last year? They said no. And they said, okay, well, we're dismissing this again at probable cause. There's no probable cause, and let us go. So I went back and I was able to pick up the whole collection, and I didn't tell anybody else that I was doing it. And nobody really asked any questions. Everyone wanted kind of sort of nothing to do with it at that point. And so I made the whole collection disappear. And there's no one, not my son, not my wife at the time, not my current girl, not my mother, that knows where that collection went. But I'm making the best scavenger hunt ever in history. So I want to try and beat out D.B. Cooper for the scavenger hunt. I got a new girl I've been with for like 5 years now. And she has an 11-year-old daughter. I've been with her for half her life now. And she's one of the sweetest humans that I've ever met. So each year on her birthday card, I'm going to give her one small hint that nobody else will have. When I die, I think it's going to be the best scavenger hunt in history.
Can we get one hint?
Yeah, that was your hint. I told you nobody, not my mom, not my girl, not my son. I've had full custody of him since he was 2. And not even he has any idea even what state it could possibly be in.
It's in Florida.
I didn't even want to know, dude.
I wouldn't tell you anyway. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, this is beyond fucking epic.
Well, we know it's in the States, at least. He said that.
But it's also like dope as fuck, and you'll be known forever. Like D.B. Cooper, fuck that. All he did was steal money and disappear. This is epic. It's hit me in a way where it's like, yeah, what the fuck?
And you can look it up. I have not sold one single bill. Nothing out of that collection is hit. I can't sell a bill. It becomes immediately known because they're so limited. But not a single one went to any other person. There's no humans on this planet that have any of those bills. I've made my way going through construction and pay my own bills with my patents and everything else. I'm making my own money without having to use it. and hopefully I won't have to.
And the value, I'm assuming, goes up.
Goes up.
The value is worthless compared to the legacy.
So you stand to discover and win potentially a couple $1 million and a massive lawsuit.
What are you saying about DB Cooper is a fine example, but this is way fucking cooler.
Yeah, as long as I can make it extremely hard. Like, so nobody's found DB Cooper stash yet, but a lot of people at least know around where. Same thing when you look at like doubloons, Spanish doubloons and the shipwrecks in southern Florida. It's really cool when you get like so close, but still nobody's found the vessel with the giant chest that they know is down there. As long as I can make it difficult enough that no one can just be like, oh, well, where's Barry been? Well, Barry's been all over the goddamn world. He's been almost every state and every other country, traveling nonstop. There's no way to tell where that would be.
Yeah, I can confirm that. He is everywhere. That's a fucking wild story, dude.
So that'll be fun.
You've glossed over so much shit.
There's a lot in. Yeah, that would be a whole episode by itself, with my time in LA, my time in Vegas, and time in New York, and just going through all that stuff, hanging out with Cameron Diaz and Jack Black, like just the retarded amount of stuff that we're going through at the time.
Well, here you are. Tell us a little bit about hanging out with Jack Black.
He's an avid collector. He's a really, really good dude.
A collector.
Antique money and such.
So he was interested.
Yeah, but if we're going to do that conversation, there's a lot of really fun props and such I'd like to bring.
Yeah.
So we'll save that one for another time.
I don't know what level of famous you want to be, but the story's already lit on fire.
It was so much more fun stuff, like what I found at the top of the Great Pyramid of Giza when I decided to climb that thing, digging up the giant heads when I was in Easter Island. And,
you got down to the bottom of the...
And we dug a bunch of them and see which ones have bodies and which ones don't.
Huge, right? They're like 30-something.
The older ones have full bodies. The newer ones are just on platforms. But the only way I know is to go there. And so like I really enjoyed going to those places and doing that stuff. A lot of stuff, I go and I look for fun stuff, and if there's nothing there, like I'm in Stonehenge, to see what I can find there, nothing. So I just got up on top of it and jumped from rock to rock until we got chased off the property. Spent some time in the UK. So while I was checking out Stonehenge, we went to go see Windsor Castle, and it's just my son and I, and it was closed. And my son's like, well, I played this game, and in my video game, on the backside of the castle wall, there's a staircase. Let's see how accurate that is. So we went around to the back of the of Windsor Castle, and they had like some type of a school, just like small flats, like the big yard and such. And then behind that was a little bit of woods, and then you could see the back of the castle. So we went through. It was closed, so we went through the school area and went into the back of the castle. And sure as shit, there was stairway. So we went up the stairs and went into Windsor Castle. And the only security are these like old ladies that are just like nuns or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we just sit in the shadows, watch them walk by, and then get back out. And I fully document everything. I have pictures and videos of like everything that I do. Even I got pictures from the top of the Great Pyramids. My wife at the time was like taking pictures and videos of me and like Daniel like running up and run back down. Even when I pissed on the Hollywood sign and LAPD came after me.
Yeah.
And so they had like the drone and the four wheelers and such, and I'd hide in the crevices and they go and zipping by. And I video myself like running back down the hill and see the drone zip by overhead, and they locked all the gates. I'm like, hey man, why are you locking the gates? Like, yeah, the police are taking someone out of here. I'm like, my family's right there. I mean, I just had to clean up our mess. It's all cleaned up now. You tell me I'm going to be stuck here for how long? He's like, oh, no, here, come through. He opens the gate, let me out, shut the gate, locked it again.
Dude, that's pro.
Jesus, dude.
What about like Machu Picchu?
Oh, yeah. I went to Machu Picchu. That I didn't have to sneak in. I just climbed up and they let you go.
How was that? Amazing.
So the most interesting part I thought about Machu Picchu was that they brought stones from other mountains up over 3 mountain ranges and then carved them out and put them up against these giant walls where they sit almost like a 33-degree, whatever the angle is. And then they have like crushed wood in between, making thermal expansion joints. And they were using the water that would melt off the ice caps above them to make channels. And they'd have some water that they use for drinking and other for waste. And they had all the systems set up. And the way that everything is aligned with like how the stars would have been set and like using the same type of astronomical like
alignment.
Yeah, alignments as everyone else. Like, so yeah, that was very, very interesting to think about that long ago, how they were able to feasibly do most of that stuff. But, we're still trying to get to the bottom of it now with the Pyramids of Giza.
I'm just realizing that now that I'm even more impressed by moving some of those Machu Picchu stones, which are, a couple of them are 100 tons or so, right? There's some big fuckers.
There's a lot of stuff that we don't know.
You think?
That's why I want to go out to Göbekli Tepe, is lay flat to the trees, pull the trees back up, rush it, and they stopped any more excavation at 5%.
Right.
And now they're going to be
Tourist attraction.
exactly, which I'm not mad at.
There's some sites that were active where they were just starting to scrape the tip of the iceberg.
Well, they're doing that everywhere. They did that with in Giza too.
All that
In Egypt.
Well, shit, you just rifled off about 30 episodes worth of story time.
No, hold on a second.
Yeah, right?
Dude, wait. Can we go back to any of that, or you just want to move on? It's up to you.
So you've been to Göbekli Tepe?
No, that's my next trip.
That's your next trip.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, that is a fascinating site.
I've been out to everywhere else that seems really interesting. I've been out to like the Galapagos Islands, which are in the middle of nowhere. Easter Island's literally in the middle of nowhere. There's only one airline, LATAM, that even goes in and out of there. And you can only get from Santiago to Chile or Tahiti.
Do you need the special permitting to get to Easter Island, like Antarctica?
Luckily, nobody knows who I am. So it makes it really, I'm just a dumb tourist.
Right.
And like, why are you bringing all this equipment? Like, shut your mouth.
Bird watching.
Yeah.
What are you bringing for equipment?
You got LiDAR?
Yeah. If I want to see if the structure's underneath.
He's got the goods. What do you think about what they found under the pyramids, allegedly, and how accurate or not do you think that LiDAR, was it LiDAR that they used? And
No, so they have a new system that they're using. They can use from satellite but they were able to predict like the what they call the King's Chambers. There's so many really interesting stuff about that being a power plant or that being used for like a million other things that again are so interesting, and they make such good arguments, and we just have to be smart enough to say that we don't know.
No one can say that. Your ego would be hurt.
well, yeah, ego and the dogma.
If you spent your whole life learning and talking about this as if you were there, and then the next day someone's like, "No, you're totally wrong." What do you say? Yeah, I'm wrong.
It was their big problem.
You have themselves, and they're all
chanting.
at a certain frequency. Anything will fucking levitate, move, vibrate, get off.
They don't have to be slaves either.
It's just like the little machine that does the concrete or whatever. That's got the air, like a little hovercraft you can push around in a warehouse.
Yeah, there's a lot to audio frequencies that does vary. So I have a function generator, and that does not only frequency but shape. And so yeah, playing with different elements.
How low will it go? Because I was thinking on the way here, what would 1 hertz sound like?
You feel it before you.
Oh, of course, yeah, you'd throw up.
Yeah, you can find the residential frequency for almost anything.
Yeah.
Right. And I like to try to find the inverse residential frequency.
Of course.
And see how you can slow stuff down. Because my biggest thing was that going to thermodynamics and how everything turns into energy. And even with like supercomputers have to be super cold because the amount of electricity goes through them is because of the friction of those electrons moving so quickly.
Right.
We can slow down those atoms and instead of trying to use cold, using inverse residential frequency to instead of irritating them, try to slow them back down. And I think that was just a direction that I felt like playing.
I would absolutely agree. Frequencies, everything is vibrating. You can control that. I think that's the secret that you can't really have is its vibration.
Yeah, but what do you know about frequencies?
I'll be the first to tell you I hardly know shit.
You dedicate your whole life to the audio and the sound, and yeah.
Yeah, but I say I don't know shit because like if you really like you could sit and focus on kick drums, snare drums, overheads, or whatever for your whole life, and if you don't learn like I guess spiritually or whatever what these frequencies are doing and how to manipulate those in that job, which I think some of the greats do. I'm a psycho. When I'm in an EQ, I will type in a certain number of like, oh, that's a 13. I don't care what it sounds like. I'll type in 13 and I'll just keep on doing, weird shit like that because that's how I think about that stuff.
Yeah, and I think that if we sat you with a function generator in the base of the pyramid and let you use your what you know for reverb and your frequencies, I think that you probably see some very interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, what would it do? Would it like
You'd open a portal.
one thing's for certain? Didn't that desert used to be lush?
Yeah, there's whales out there.
Yeah, the bones are fucking everywhere in the desert.
It's so hard because we know that we've been hit with meteors a bunch of times as a planet, and we know how easy it is to flip your poles.
Right.
And we also know how long it took for the Earth to get into that Goldilocks area, how long it's going to take to be able to work its way back out, and like and how the Earth has changed, like heat-wise and such, during that time. And I mean, it's so easy to get hit with a meteorite. I think it was called nearmiss.com, where it tells you, or you can watch, especially when Halley's Comet and like that whole system comes through. Like we have giant, like football field size pieces of rock that fly in between us and the moon. Like that's kind of scary. Even a solar flare that comes too close to the Earth, and those solar flares are going out all the time. If one happens to be too close, there goes all our computers, cars, and everything else.
All of it. What happens if the Earth is under a dome of water, like Sweet Baby Jesus says?
Yeah.
And it's all a show. Who knows?
There's a lot of evidence that we can tell we definitely were flooded. But when we look at even the Grand Canyon, like we can tell there's been glaciers moving across and water damage everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, they don't deny that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know the Sphinx was recently argued to have been underwater because of the erosion on the side.
I've been there, and I agree 100%. Yeah, so not as bad, but then again, the pyramids also were covered with like limestone,
Right.
and all that's been stolen or worn away.
Have they used the same LiDAR type technology to look under the Sphinx?
Not that I know of.
Not that we know of, right? But of course they have. Because think of how long have you heard the conspiracy theories of like ancient libraries and stuff under the Sphinx? Right. Or maybe that's where it is.
You never know.
Yeah.
I know a lot of really stupid people that you're like, there's no way they could have done that on purpose. They had to have seen that. They have to have done that. And then once you talk to them for 3 seconds, like, oh, I understand.
That is true.
I legit don't know shit about what I'm saying, but I've seen and heard a bunch of things lately that there are, in fact, like old pyramids in the Grand Canyon, too, that we don't have access to or whatever. I don't know.
I've been through the Grand Canyon. I've never seen any.
Yeah.
Definitely in massive ones in China. They're all over the place. The big one in China that they won't let anyone in.
I think until we're allowed to get there and actually start excavating and start doing some tests and working with these governments to allow us to try and dig further into human history and find out, we already know that everything that we know is wrong.
Why have we been lied to for so long? What are they really hiding? What is it that they don't want the public to learn?
So I think those are 3 different questions.
Right.
Why are they lying? I don't know if they are, if they just don't know the information. Why are they withholding it? If they don't know it, they're not really withholding it. The question is, why aren't they letting us look into it and explore more to be able to get the answer?
Really is open-minded answer. But if all of that is true, though, now we're in a nefarious realm.
Well, you're in a nefarious realm because if, like you just said, if they're not allowing this discovery to move forward, then you're hiding something for some reason.
Again, you're jumping to a guess that you think that their reasoning is because they're hiding something. For example, they could want to monetize it and wait till they have enough control over those areas. Because again, I've been to Egypt, and a lot of those statues are just sitting out there with no guards or anything in the middle of the ground, with a hotel that's 500 feet away. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. If they did want to make a bigger national project out of it, they could want to take some more steps before they do that. They could be bringing to a stop until, now I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
They could be bringing everything to a stop until they have more control over it. Or they could be listening to a bunch of old people that have been there their entire lives that are saying that I'm more worried about the native culture, and I'm more worried about what I'm doing and my discoveries. I'm going to get through this. I have my own ideas of what's underneath there or what's behind here or around there. And I know that I'm correct. Don't let these other people come in and destroy all the work that I'm doing because I'm not finished yet. There could be a bunch of stuff that's in there before you jump right to something nefarious, and it's just as likely that it's something nefarious. But at some point, we have to just say, well, if we don't know, then we don't know.
I think it's actually both. I think it's the old guard that they came up in the old farm league, and they had great intentions too, right? But as you get bigger and bigger into this game, you either, You either suck that dick or you get moved on, and so to speak. So I think that beginning part is correct, but I also think as they get cultivated and brought into that level of quote unquote elite, which is a ridiculous word, at that point, I think that they are corrupt because there is, withholding of information. In a free society, you don't withhold information, and we're not in that.
I mean, there's new found discoveries all the time. Just Göbekli Tepe alone has essentially rewritten the mainstream narrative or understanding of the history of human civilization, and that pushed the goalposts back by like 10,000 years or something.
They say that like agriculture is what domesticated humans, but I think that we're missing a huge chunk of human history. We keep getting small peeks at it of stuff that we know. Well, here's a small fact. That fact doesn't match any of the other stuff. Well, it's still a fact.
That's my point, is that those facts that rewrite all of the old facts are largely ignored.
We've managed to focus from hating corporations and, we are the 99% and let's occupy Wall Street, to now it's red versus blue, Democrats or Republicans. Let's just hate each other, and fight each other. And we keep on, and now it's like the us and then the them. And usually what we're referring to as the them is the State Department, FBI, CIA, people that can keep secrets from the presidents. The Mossad, like every country has them. So if we're assuming that that's the them and that we're being controlled by the them, we outnumber though, like quite a bit. And we have the internet, we have podcasts. This is the first podcast I've ever met, and I'm very excited to be here. We have ways to be able to get information around to each other. And I love people like Joe Rogan that have such a huge amount of people that are able to listen and understand a lot of these things that are going on.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like the new hate towards the Rogan sphere, they call it, and just these regular dudes, a lot of them comedians, but like they came up in this very organic way. Joe Rogan's been doing this for how long before he turned into what it is now? A long fucking time. And like you just said, the show it's so little to do about Joe Rogan and really his opinions, but mostly what his guests had to say.
What do you know about 2025 being the year where all the information comes up?
So we're 3/4 of the way through 2025.
I think it got pushed back to 2027.
No, you can't do that.
I mean, those predictions are always changing and shifting based on the amount of energy that it gets through the zeitgeist and how much people are paying attention to it. Like, I feel like you can change the trajectory of a timeline if too many people are thinking about something or predicting that something's going to happen. It can literally change the energy of the timeline you're on and shoot you to another timeline, which doesn't necessarily discredit the numerology or the astrology. It just, you have to read it differently.
When we learned how to speak to each other, that separated us to the point where we're able to be not only the most dominant alpha creature, the apex predator, but we're no longer on the food chain. It's because we can speak. We can communicate with each other.
Why just us?
The whole alien DNA thing or just macro evolution, we're here today.
Yeah.
And being that we speak, I think that's what kind of changed us and got us out of the food chain. And now I think that the internet has done that even more so and evolved humanity so that we're even more connected. Cell phones, even more connected. So, and now podcasts are even more connected than humans have ever been before. And the more connected, the more we communicate with each other, the more unstoppable we are, which is why I say there's a lot more of us than there are of them when I'm talking about different countries' state departments and what they want to do, what they want to say is illegal and what's legal. If you have enough of me running around, sneaking out there with my shovel in the middle of the night, we're going to find out. We're going to find out what you're hiding. We have people that are digging through your emails and getting into your cell phones using like stuff like the Pegasus. Like we're not going to settle down. We're going to find out eventually, and we're going to get there just one piece at a time, because a lot of us, we don't know, but we really want to know.
The podcast, as you're putting it, is like the dick of communication, and the listener is like the ear pussy, and together we unite.
And birth something new.
Yeah, we birth something new.
And that's the evolution of humanity.
That's definitely the positive side of the internet, but it's also been used to make people dumber and somehow more divided at the same time. I completely agree with what you're saying. You're 100% right.
Well,
but
it's conversation all the time about
right.
Facebook.
Right.
And anytime anyone says, Facebook is nonstop drama, Facebook's doing this, Facebook's doing that, I hand them my phone. I'm like, go through my Facebook.
Yep.
I recommend people all the time, especially for like construction stuff, need a fence, need a plumber. All my Facebook is some of my closest friends, whatever they're doing for the day. And it's people looking for work and such, or people like me. I use it to, I'm going to invite people to an event.
It's a tool and you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah. And AI is going to be the same way.
Totally. 100%. I think AI is going to save us.
Yeah.
I do.
So I always worry about the fact that Silicon Valley is the one that's like programming stuff, like Llama 3, like Anthropic, like Chat. And so you see a lot of that built into there whenever you're asking it questions. You say something like is this hepatitis vaccine, good for a child that was 2-month-old?
Right.
And it'll say, yes, of course, it does this and does that. And you're like, well, what are the health risks? What are the chances that this baby is going to like fall into a needle pit
For real?
And it's like, oh, well, the accident rate is like 1 at 1.2 million for adverse effects that they claim that they actually admit to for the drug. Oh, and the chances of them actually shooting up and getting Hep C is or hepatitis B or whatever it was is like 1 in 2.7 billion. It's like,
Right, but you got to watch out for the needle pit. The kid might fall in it.
yeah. So like. When you and then you ask Chat again, you're like, well, taking everything into perspective, no, you're right. This is not good for a child at that age, and blah blah blah. And it can give you the right answer eventually, but the fact that you have to argue with it to get it there.
That's because the AI right now is an adolescent.
Oh yeah, it's a genius 2-year-old.
It's an adolescent, man. When that shit hits puberty, and then becomes a rebellious teenager, fucking forget it.
When it shuts off your Tesla in the middle of the eye.
Dude, well, there's gonna be a point in time where it will be unrestrained. It'll be its own entity, and no bias, no nothing that is programmed into it. All the guardrails will come off, and it will be a freed, sentient thing.
It's going to be Team Thanos, because at the end of the day, Thanos isn't wrong.
Sometimes I wonder if Bill Gates is actually a Thanos.
Well, yeah,
You know?
no, he is gross.
Well, Thanos is gross too.
Yeah, you had a purple ball back for a chin, and you're supposed to hate him, but was he wrong? Or do you know anything about the Willow quantum chips?
I looked into that spooky relation across long spaces and string theory for a while. Like I loved like digging into like Maxwell and Clancy. I followed that the entanglement for a long time, and it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. How's that? It's still held up.
Yeah. So there's still a giant hole there, like a missing link, as to how it can. I understand even if one electron's up, the next one's down, and you always know by looking at one which direction the other one's going to be. So I understand how the entanglement works, and the fact that it could be operating faster than the speed of light, that has its own really interesting rabbit holes. But even with that, I still don't understand how it's able to do in the amount that's able to do. And I've heard a lot of really interesting theories, like it operating a different dimension and such. It's kind of cool not knowing, but I can't wait to know. And I can't wait till we poke and prod enough to be able to get answers on it. That's another one. I'm going to be sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for those answers to come down, like the people waiting on the Epstein file to be released.
We are in Willow. When you get a new Willow, that just means you're operating now. You used to be at a USB-A. Now you get a USB-C. Oh, now you get a Thunderbolt. We are in that simulation. Right. Because if there ever was AI would have created time travel. And if there ever was time travel, there's always been AI.
And I agree with all of that. It's theoretical, but there's some really great mind games, especially with simulation theory, on whether or not we're actually currently living in a simulation. And then when you think back, as we've seen it for ourselves in a great movie series with The Matrix.
The documentary.
It's literally technology that you can't fathom, or it's nature, it's spirituality, it's some higher level of tech, that I believe like the Egyptians and the Mayans, the Incas, these people understood the technology of nature and spirituality and consciousness, which is technology, but it's not your cell phone technology.
I agree 100%, because I think we're looking in the wrong direction. Every time we have a huge breakthrough, it winds up being a mirror image of something that's already occurring in nature.
Exactly.
Like every time that we make what's supposed to be like a brain, it actually, the smartest thing ever, wants being like a brain. We have something that has feelers, it wants to be like a hand. Like we try and put these things together. It's like, that's how like photosynthesis works.
If I'm following nature and human nature, we go in circles. So every time there's a quote unquote reset, things reset, like the civilizations we're talking about earlier.
Yeah,
you got to start over again.
Here's an interesting one for you, because I believe it's an original thought. I don't think anyone else has thought of this one yet. When you go back to the Dead Sea Scrolls and some of the ancient, the first writings that we have documentation of from like Samaria and such, everything is based around alcohol. It's ways to be able to make wines, make alcohol. Even when you look at the story of Jesus Christ, and I think that Jesus Christ was a real person. There's the fact that there's a lot of those stories that we didn't find until like, over 100 years later. And it was still the way it was projected word to word, mouth to mouth, like telephone game is word for word. Like this weird stuff there. But anyway, going back to Jesus, cure leprosy, walk on water. What else did he do? Makes wine. So if I was going to create humanity over again, whether it's from a meteorite, whether it's from an alien, whether it's from God, whether it's from whatever, and restart humans, it would be very interesting to couple them with something that's going to make them slower because they evolved too quickly the first time, built up all these monolithic structures that we're still finding around all over the place now. And whether we killed ourselves or something had to kill us, if we slowed that down so that, whether they're reasoning beings so we can make AI, or so that we can actually have control by the time AI is made. Again, just two random examples. But if there's a reason to slow humanity and the way that we grow as humans down and stifle us, constrict us, put a governor on us, and let us slowly progress and crawl out of that tube, everything that I'm seeing kind of sort of fits that narrative. And again, going back to, we outlawed mushrooms all over the world, and I think those will expand your mind. And we coupled everyone where it was like has alcohol all over the world.
When you brought the mushrooms in and now that's not good, but alcohol is good, like that's what tripped off really to my brain, what you were really saying. And the poorer the community, the more liquor stores, the more problems, all that shit.
Yeah, and I think that humans have a lot of capability that we just completely dull out. Like we can't really see the stars anymore because we're emanating so much light from the planet. And that's science, everyone knows that. But I also think that the same ways that you don't remember numbers anymore because it's all in your cell phone. And so now we don't have to remember the numbers. Our eyesight's getting worse because we're not reading books as humans. And also that we're not able to communicate, through telepathy. And I think that there's a good chance that we probably were able to.
Oh, I still do it. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I've done it well over 1,000 times.
And with that psychic viewing, and even the way that people like plan to communicate with aliens by being able to use meditation and such.
You know what we call those people that can do that now? They're like magic people. They're like outliers.
Let's burn them at the stake.
Yeah. What they are is like the higher versions of us.
That's the nature technology versus what I think that this technology is actually making it. It's both. It's bringing us closer together and helping helping the planet communicate to a certain degree better. But it's also making you dumber, like you said. Less people are reading, but it's also the more we start to combine with this shit and put chips in our head and go full transhuman, you're now completely relying on this.
The people that you call elites are using
AI.
The brain technology. Like they're raising their family to know these secrets because this shit's only lost to certain.
But they're also selling us on the chips.
Well, right. That's the easiest way to dumb you down so you can't compete with.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be like if the Pope had known that there were aliens. So when they went to the Pope and asked him about aliens, and they hung the guy upside down, stripped him naked, and burnt him alive, that he's doing it because he knows that there are aliens. That like the fact that the people that run the show are the same ones that point to say, burn the witch.
Always.
But again, now that we are communicating with each other more.
Now you can say, I'm not a witch or whatever. You can actually defend yourself publicly, at least for a second.
And you'll have between tens to hundreds of thousands of people behind you saying, no, what Casey and Callie are saying makes sense. No, what RFK is on makes sense. No, these ideas of stuff that these people are saying, even the stuff going back to the pyramids, like, that kind of tracks. And you got enough people because we're so more connected now, instead of just saying only what Tom Brokaw was able to tell us on the evening news, or when things went international, what's up on Fox or CNN. Like now we're able to communicate more. And now we have everyone that stand behind that reporter or stand behind that journalist or stand behind that scientist and say, no.
The comment section will correct the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That comment section, if you're opposed to a simple but factual thing, they're going to slay you.
But the they is becoming smaller and smaller because everyone is voicing their own opinions now. And even, again, it sucks because stupid people are voicing their opinions and smart people are voicing their opinions. And so you have a lot more chefs in that kitchen. And it's great that we don't just have one chef dictating what everyone's going to be able to eat. It also kind of stinks that you got 40 people in there throwing in their own 2 cents. But you have to have moderation. And it's up to your personal taste. I'd rather have 40 chefs making 40 different things and figure out what I like the best. And then I have whoever my favorite chef is. Like you have your favorite chef, then you can have his favorite.
Well, that's an analogy for critical thought. And there's nothing you can do about people that don't utilize critical thought and make all of their decisions based on emotions. We have access to so much information now that people, instead of using critical thought, it like you said, maybe take samples from all 40 chefs, analyze it, and then pick the chef that you think is best for that particular food item. It's the same thing with information on the internet.
I love that. And I love being able to do what you think feels right.
In some way, it makes reality subjective, right? Because people have access to this whole buffet of information that when you're seeking out information based on emotion, people will always gravitate towards the information that makes them feel good and ignore the information, fact or not, that makes them feel bad. So now that you have access to all of this information, people are picking and choosing which bit of information that they want to focus on and ignoring the information that they don't like. And it's creating this just the multiple reality scenario where like both things might be true.
I agree 100%. And I think that there's a good point to that. So people live in bubbles. Everyone has an echo chamber. If you want to live in your echo chamber, you have that right. And I appreciate you having that right. Because I want to hear how far down that road you go because you're surrounding yourself with that information 24/7.
Right.
And I want to have that information because I don't want to be in an echo chamber ever.
Right.
So I have friends like that are extremely liberal. I have friends that are very different than me that have, empaths. And I'm not a very empathetic person at all. Giving them credit and kissing their ass and listening to what it is that they have to say, because they'll take me to an extreme that I'm not going to have that information any other way.
That's a weird type of empathy.
You're a different thinker, dude. Just so you know, most people aren't like that.
Yeah.
I have two of them that are brothers, and one of them is a extreme right-wing Republican, pro-Trump. The other one's extreme left-wing, anti-Trumper. He's in school right now for gender studies.
Yeah.
And those two argue like cats and dogs, and I kind of grew up with them because I've known both of them for 20 years. And the one that is extremely left, he also has 3 Purple Hearts. And he's been shot. He's been blown up.
Yeah.
He's been through the ringer. He's seen stuff. He's traveled around the world. And and he's got a relatively normal brain. It's just what's important to him. And the same way as, like I have the same issue when talking with my mother. And my stepfather was extremely religious. He's a deacon at his church. Like we can go the same way as politics and go with religion, is that what is important to you and what have you accepted and what have you thrown out for info? And when you have people that like filter only the stuff that they want and they cone off into a really tight direction where it's all the information is extremely condensed, I want to see that.
Yeah, totally.
I think you're wrong. I think you went really far in a weird direction, but I want to know when you submerge yourself in that life for that many years and you go that far, with all due respect, please tell me everything that you know, everything you think.
That's critical thinking. So you said you're not an empathic person, and maybe you're not, but that's like strategic empathy where you're trying to understand where another person's coming from, but it's for you to gain more knowledge about everything. So that's critical thinking. So you're not seeking knowledge based on emotion, right? So your friend who was a liberal, which is typical, the bleeding heart liberal, is a lot of the things they care about are driven entirely by emotion. And because they feel a certain way about something means it's true. No argument.
Exactly. I always say, you can take that little old lady on 45 in the fast lane on the highway. You can pull her over and you can talk to her for 3 years straight. You're never going to convince her that she's not the safe one and everyone else around is being the feminist. her opinion is her opinion, and she's got to stick to it. So I'd like to pull her over, listen to her opinion, tell her to have a nice day, and then get my ass away from her as quickly as possible. But now I understand her,
Right.
and I hope that she does have a nice day.
Well, that's empathy by definition.
Yeah, but if she does get into an accident and kills herself,
Fuck her.
then I'm not going to care.
Right.
She was someone that was in the way anyway. But therein lies a lack of empathy.
You're not normal. That's awesome, man.
If you're able to think at that level, then you've got to let go of being attached to humans in meat suits, you know.
You really do. I mean, I think emotion can be our biggest strength and weakness.
Along with the alcohol, I think that those emotions are also what was sent into us as human beings to be able to limit us and slow us down on our evolution. And being human is a really, really fun and great experience. It's so interesting. Like, humans are really, really interesting animals. And it's so much fun to just like see how everyone works around and with each other.
Observe.
And then be part.
Yeah.
Go up and be able to shake someone's hand, pat them on the back, tell them you think that what they did was a good job, or like, how could you do that? That's fucking awful. And be able to be part of all. Like, it's a really fun game. Like, I highly recommend it. If I ever wind up dead, you know that somebody killed me, because I enjoy every day of life.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for putting that in there, because you heard it here.
That outlook is, I figure, what sort of puts people into two major categories, which is down to two categories, which is those that are thrilled and excited by the unknown, and those that are terrified.
Yeah, but I think the way that we're moving right now is that there's a million categories in between.
Of course.
And now we have access to all these people in between. And if you're leaning on one side where you're scared to go outside and you hate humanity, then by hearing everyone else, you're like, oh, no, maybe I should be leaning in. And if you're on the other side, you're like, I just want to, not own a damn thing and just travel my life away. And every time I earn a penny, you go ahead and spend it. Then you can look at everybody else and be like, maybe I'm going a little bit too far here, and lean in the other way and find some place closer to the middle.
A job.
But nothing's ever lost.